All right, good morning. Yes, we are on air. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Newspaper Review on VOP this morning. Well, it's a beautiful day, Wednesday, the 7th day, and birthday shout-outs. That's how we choose to start the birthday shout-outs to the one I and I only refer to as Professor. That's Chukwuma Okoro. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you, my Otumba. This is my Otumba. Thank you very much.
After the show, at the end of the show.
After the show.
We'll sing.
Okay.
No, we know how we roll.
We know how we roll.
We'll do that later, off camera.
All right, then what you say, it's a full house. We have
I will only say something. If after the show there is something for
Barrister, don't worry.
all the tatos and motos.
Well, we have a full house. Barrister Darlington is in the building. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And we also have Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter and a public affairs commentator, also in the building. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, sir.
You know how we roll. Yes, in advance.
Right.
Birthday, happy birthday.
So the celebrant.
How many years now? How many years are we
We'll
talking
talk about all of that. Well, let's get into the papers.
Okay.
We have The Guardian, The Punch, Business Day, Vanguard, and a few other dailies on our plate. But let's quickly take a look at the headlines on the cover page of the Punch newspaper. Right beside the masthead, we have defections. Okowa denies 500 billion naira refund claim as Oboriwori visits Tinubu. And also, rising insecurity. NAS ex-generals demand urgent military rearmament. Senate moves to tackle killings as retired military chiefs. Reps lament insurgents' use of sophisticated arms. We hear they use drones now. Militants use drones, but Nigeria purchased drones the other time. They bought it, but they don't know how to use it. The militants are using it. Interesting days. Interesting time. Senate may pass tax bills today. Panel to oversee IBAS. JACBA, UK considers tighter visa rules for Nigerians, Pakistanis, and all the way down to consumption. UN worries over dwindling donor funding as 4.6 million face severe hunger in Northeast. I'm tempted to ask why they care so much about who goes into hunger in Nigeria. I take that headline again. UN worries over dwindling donor funding as 4.6 million face severe hunger in Northeast. Boko Haram, now deadlier, uses weaponized drones, says Borno reps. Defections. Delta federal state lawmakers switch allegiance to APC as Tinubu meets Oboriwori. Why poverty is worsening in Nigeria by Obi. Over 75% of Lagos food supply from other states, says Lagos state government. FMCG firms ride on Naira stability, grow profits by 100%. Lawyers storm NAS, demand takeover of Benue Zamfara assemblies. Senate grieves over Uromi. Gombe killings set for security summit amid concerns. And also we have Senate constitutes committee to oversee Rivers sole administrator. Well, these are major headlines that you will find across the papers. From the Business Day, we have the rise in poverty, mutes Tinubu's reform gains. And then the big story here, landlords, developers to reap big from FG's tax reforms. APC power struggles seen on influx of new defectors. Nestle, BOA, NASCON, top most profitable FMCGs in Q1. All right, so these are the headlines we have on our plates this morning. But the Guardian would be a good place to start as we talk about insecurity. Well, let's start off with the conversation around insecurity. Boko Haram using weaponized drones, and that's also tied to other headlines from the Punch that says NAS ex-generals demand urgent military rearmament. Senate moves to tackle killings as retired military chiefs. Reps lament insurgents' use of sophisticated arms.
Moses,
Barrister.
I think we have overflogged this issue. Left to me,
But it persists.
seriously.
But it
I
persists.
know we need to talk about it, but for me, it's just that I cannot avoid it coming on a panel like this. But for me, if other Nigerians will behave, I will say let us allow the federal government. Nobody should talk. Nobody should see anything. Nobody should write anything. Let the federal government continue to sleep over this issue until these people overwhelm Nigeria. Then maybe they wake up. Because how can you tell me that for 15 years now, these guys have been growing in leaps and bounds? With all the revelations, nobody's doing anything. It's not as if they don't see or they don't know or they don't hear what is going on. They gave you a list of people sponsoring this thing. You just put it under your seat and sat on it. Every day we'll be talking about insecurity. Let us do this. Please, this summit, is it the first? In fact, the last time I checked, this summit has been more than 10 times. Nothing came out of it, from Buhari to Tinubu. So how many summits are you going to hold? When America want to deal with such, did they call for any meeting? I have said this severally here that any terrorist that want to enter America must have written his will because he will not come back. But here, they are moving all over the place, around even highbrow place like Abuja, terrorists. And the federal government is just looking the other side. And you are telling me there is no secret behind this thing. The NSA told you that the ammunition they bought for Nigerian army and police, they are selling it to terrorists. Nobody said anything about that revelation. Nobody was reprimanded. Every day you are holding meeting. You are going to do it. You are doing it. We are trying. Meanwhile, you are not doing anything. Moses, they are not doing anything. I have told you here, if they remove ethnic sentiment, religious sentiment, what do you call again? This is tribal sentiment from this insecurity. It will end today. Moses, it will end today. I challenge anybody to tell me otherwise. Look at how they are pampering them all over the place in the north today. Look at.
So let's take a little peep at. I just quickly checked out this data because we need to educate our viewers. Key spendings on to acquire ammunition to fight insecurity since in 2024. In 2024, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria imported arms and ammunition worth approximately 777.1 billion naira between 2020 and 2024. Now, notably, in 2024 alone, accounted for over 520 billion naira of this total, marking the highest annual expenditure in the 5-year period. A quick look at budgetary allocation for defense from 2016 all the way to 2025, actually. 2016, 443.1 billion naira. 2017, 465.4 billion naira. 2018, 576.3 billion naira. 2019, 589.9 billion naira. 2020, 900 billion naira. 2021, 772.6 billion naira. 2022, 1.2 trillion naira. It keeps going up.
Yes.
2023, 1.248 trillion naira. And then 2024, 3.25 trillion naira allocated to defense and security. And 2025, proposed 4.91 trillion naira allocated to defense and security. Now, we've also had Super Tucano aircraft in 2019. Nigeria purchased 12 A-29 Super Tucano aircraft from the United States for $329 million. It was delivered in 2021. Tucano fighter jets in 2018. President Buhari authorized the withdrawal of 1 billion naira from the excess crude account, with $496 million. I beg your pardon? Withdrawal of $1 billion from the excess crude account, with $496 million used to order 12 Tucano fighter jets. And then we also had the AH-1Z Cobra attack helicopters, where government procured 12 of these AH-1Z Cobra attack helicopters worth nearly $1 billion. You know, you start to ask the question, what has these things been used for? There was the M346 fighter jets in 2024. Nigeria agreed to acquire 24 M346 fighter jets from Italy, with deliveries expected in batches. I am not aware if these ones have been delivered.
Mr. Graham, comment. The summary is that as of today, you are talking of 19 trillion naira from the date you mentioned. That's from that 2016. 19 trillion naira with nothing to show for it. Moses, nothing. Rather, the people we are fighting are growing in wings. What does that tell you? This money is going to terrorists. That's why they are getting bolder. Because I don't see any serious businessman that fought hard to make his money and will be using it to fund terrorism. This money is our money that we are using to fund them. NSS said that, not me. So, are you now surprised where they are getting their drones? Are you surprised?
No, Barrister, it's not a matter of being surprised. I think, like we normally say, there are many layers to these things. But all said, it goes back to the issue of failure of leadership. And so when you begin to interrogate the failure of leadership, you also talk about intentionality. You talk about sincerity on the part of leadership. Because from the little I know, I mean, the people in leadership, these are people that have been trained in almost the best schools in the world. You know, they've been to National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru, you know, where they understand these things. Away from the ordinary school that I even passed through, and I understand these things clearly. At the root of insecurity in Nigeria is the fact that leadership has clearly failed, and they are intentional about it in not fighting this issue of insecurity. I say that in the light of the fact that, look, if you want to fight insecurity, there are two things you do. There are two approaches. There is one that we call the minimalist approach. You know, get in there in a troubled zone, get in there, quell the crisis, and come back. After a while, the problem comes back. That is minimalist. You just want to have more like piece of the graveyard. But when you talk about the maximalist approach, you get to the root cause of the problem. Now, what is the root cause of the problem, or what are the causes of insecurity in Nigeria? In all the regions, the 6 geopolitical zones, there are different reasons for the insecurity. In the northeast, where this thing started, it was clearly an issue of insurgency. At a point, they wanted an Islamic state all through the country, but they started from that premise. So at a point, Borno State had 5 local governments under the control of the insurgents, and they were able to hoist their flag there, the Islamic Republic of wherever they called it. Now, if you move to the Northwest, what is causing the problem in Northwest now? Banditry and mineral exploitation is a different thing. So you look for another approach. If you come to the North Central, it's more like ethnic cleansing, land grabbing, as a result of what is happening in the Chad Basin, drying up, and they are unable to resuscitate it and all of that. In the Nigerian side of it, the Niger people and the Chad people are doing their best. You know, I even understand that fishing in the Lake Chad Basin is able to feed our protein need in terms of fish, the whole of West Africa. But we've not been able to, you know, take advantage of that. If you come to the Southeast, first of all, it was agitation, you know, that led to insecurity, where some people started accusing the federal government of even being part of the insecurity. And if you go to the Southwest, it is farmer headsmen clashes. You go to South, more like farmer headers by kidnapping and all of that. So what the federal government, what the leadership needs to do is to unpack all of these things. But they are using one-size-fits-all approach. And it is not about buying Tucano jets. It is not about buying fighters and all of that. Because when you say you've bought, before you use it, they experiment with theirs. you and I were here discussing how the army came to launch what they said they were drones. And 3 days after that, insurgents used drone against the military and killed like 6 soldiers or what. So when they talk about non-kinetic, I begin to ask, is it the kinetic we studied in physics or what? Because I don't understand it. This is that they don't know.
The thing is
like
that
I said, they went to the best schools. That I have not even been opportune to attend. No. And they understand these things. So it speaks to one intentionality in ensuring that, look, these things, Barrister, the 19 trillion might not actually have gone to the terrorists. It might not have gone to terrorists. It has gone into private pockets. Private pockets, because
that are well known.
United Arab Emirates gave us a list of 411 people who were sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. And so up until this moment, not even one of them has been prosecuted. So it talks about the insincerity and intentionality of the government in making sure, of the leadership, in making sure that that money continues to flow to them.
You see, when government want to be deceitful, they come through different angles to deceive the gullible public. This thing that you just listed here now, it comes from one source, one intention. When Obasanjo and the Danjuma were talking of Islamization and whatever, do you think they were joking? They have boys in the army who is telling them what is going on. Those men, they are military men. They know.
The big question is, why is it that in all of this, there is more like a conspiracy of silence?
That's what I'm telling you. The silence is because they don't want to do anything, because they have already mapped out their intention.
No, I mean the silence on the part of the victims.
Which victims again? No, the victims are talking. That's the Nigerian problem.
No, it's not just about talking. It's not just about talking. What is the leadership
to do?
The leadership to get into action.
No.
I've told you, if you look at before, when it was Buhari, when Buhari was in government, you could make an argument that, look, all the heads of the security architecture were in the hands of Muslims and Northerners. But we don't see that happen now. Name them. The DSS is from the Southwest. The president himself is from the Southwest. The Inspector General of Police is from the Southwest. The Chief of Army Staff is from the Southwest. The Chief of Naval Staff is from the Southeast. Name all of them. So why that conspiracy? Is it that they don't know what to do? Or is it that they have to have been overwhelmed and sucked into that?
You have a Muslim ticket.
No, Barrister, I don't want to
let's not go to that.
No, I don't want to
get to that. You don't want to go there.
Let's not go to that.
So do you think that the president, being a Muslim, will allow his Oshun brethren, who are Christians, to be Islamized?
What do you say?
I asked the question.
When they have already set up shop in Oyo, hold on.
Exactly. So why is the president keeping quiet? Is it because he's Muslim?
Of course.
What happens to his Yoruba brethren that are Christians, that are traditionalists?
It doesn't matter. As long as it will serve his purpose, it doesn't matter. What purpose would that be? They can sacrifice an entire state for their own selfish interest. Get it right. They can sacrifice Nigeria just to succeed in what they want to do. If you are doubting me, ask yourself, why are they keeping quiet over this insecurity? It's serving a purpose. It's serving a purpose. Let Nigerians hear it. It's serving their purpose, selfish purpose.
Barrister, the headship of the National Assembly.
They are just there.
It's not in the hands of Muslims.
I said, oh God Almighty, which National Assembly? Is that might be a part of it?
Now, if we continue to locate, our tardiness in fighting insecurity within the prejudice of ethnicity or religion, we will not be getting it right.
Then what is that?
I know it clearly plays a part.
What is that?
I said we will not be getting it right because it's just a part and not the whole.
It's the men. It's the men.
Go ahead. Now, let me tell you, from all I know, Tinubu cannot be regarded as a Muslim the way Muslims call Muslim. You understand? He has a wife that's a pastor, you know, and the way we practice religion here is not the same way the Northerner will practice. There is no home in the Southwest that you not find a Muslim and a Christian. So now, you see, what we are saying, what I see in all of this is, over time, people are seeing the profitability of allowing insurgency to fester because they make capital gain from it.
Including government.
Are the people not
in
part of
government are part
government?
of the thing now.
Oh, so what are you now saying?
What
about?
I am now saying is, do you know that as we speak now, tell a general to choose between northeast or south-south. Either to, a general will likely want to stay in the south-south because of oil. But there's a business that is more lucrative in the northeast, which is insurgency. And because they profit from this, there will always be lukewarm attitude to it. And that is why I recall, I think I said it sometime here in the past. I was traveling from Bangladesh and I had a stopover in Dubai. I met a man who happens to be a military man, a young man. And when we started talking about, he showed me photographs and everything. He said, if federal government is ready to end insurgency, that the military was up to the task, that within 2 weeks, insurgency would be a thing of the past. And I asked how. He said there were occasions when they would be pursuing these people, that they are just ragtag army compared to well-trained soldiers of the federal government on the federal government side. So what he tells me is, he said at that time, he told me that a captain does 3 million naira thrift. And as at that time, the salary of a captain was no more than 340,000 naira a month. Where does he get the rest 3.5 million naira? I mean 2.5 million naira to do thrift in the war zone. So what that says is we now have multidimensional approaches to finding how and why this insurgency has not abated. Now, from insurgency, kidnapping started. And kidnapping had become so profitable that you saw a video trending last week. You saw how these people had piles of naira notes. You know, celebrating and throwing it as if it was a coupon paper. So that tells you that that's another business angle to insurgency, that those who are neck deep into it, and you find out that those people you see with those naira notes are not the beneficiaries of those naira notes. At the end of the day, the business side of kidnapping has also come up from insurgency. So the point is, whoever wants to tackle this menace must be ready to kiss the bullet. But unfortunately, there is no leader from presidency to the last person that is ready to kiss the bullet for Nigeria.
And that is the point we are making here. That
I
remove
think,
sentiment.
my opening statement was that it's a failure of leadership.
Remove sentiment.
just a
It's not
failure of
failure.
leadership.
Mr. Okoro, I've stopped buying that idea long ago when I discovered what was going on.
Barrister, what is failure of leadership?
Hold on, this was not failure. It's insincerity of
And I
leadership.
said I talked about their sincerity and their intentionality.
It is a different thing. When you say you have failed because you are overwhelmed, you don't have the power, you don't have the capacity. They say, okay, this thing, it don't tire me, I cannot fit do am. It's a different thing. But when you are deliberately insincere, you will see problem. You are looking at it.
So is that not failure of leadership?
No. It's insincerity of leadership. Insincerity.
Barrister, when that insincerity, they are one and the same. When that insincerity leads to inaction, is it not failure?
No. Look, it's like deceit. When you say somebody is deceiving,
it will eventually end to failure.
He knows what he's doing.
But what is the end result of deceit? Insincerity.
Intentionality.
It's failure.
What I'm saying is, it's not. You can't call it failure. Okay, why is it that when they want to do the other things, they are very active in it?
Because they were intentional.
So this particular one, they don't want to do it.
So is it okay?
They don't want to do. Yes, they don't want to do.
What does that convey to us?
It's okay.
That they are failed.
Is the mark of insincerity.
Okay.
They are not
That
sincere.
explains it.
When they are sincere, you see the difference.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. Well, let's talk about this shadow government, Pastor Tommy, and the shadow government. It's an interesting one because let's take an excerpt from the paper. We hear that the Patutomi shadow government has been named the Big Tent Coalition Shadow Government.
Big Ten.
Big Tent.
Big Tent.
Tent,
Okay.
tent.
Tent. Okay.
Yeah. The Big Tent Coalition Shadow Government. It was launched virtually 2 days ago. That's on Monday. And it will function as a credible opposition force, highlighting the failure of the Bola Tinubu administration while offering ideas for better governance. Now, government has reacted to it. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has said that, now I'm going to quote what he said. He said, look, at a time when our nation is set to celebrate 26 unbroken years of presidential democracy, the idea of a so-called shadow government is an aberration. Nigeria is not a parliamentary system where such a system is practiced, and there is no provision for such in our statute books. You know, and Patutomi, on the other hand, justifying the creation of a shadow government, is arguing that the government's policy missteps, current federal government, and the worsening poverty driven by multinational companies' exit from the country and the rest, and terrorism in Benue and Plateau states, alongside insecurity, has called for, and also the fact that we've seen defections from opposition parties to the ruling party, has called for a reason for another opposition, for the creation of another opposition, which he has called the Big Tent Coalition Shadow Government, to checkmate the activities of the government in power. What do you make of?
My worry about this is there is nothing wrong with this coalition coming together to say, okay, because we have seen that CSOs had failed Nigerians at critical moment. Take away Serap and maybe few, 2, 3, 4 others. We don't really have, even the political parties are not offering the credible opposition that we expect. If it's going to be limited only to highlighting government failures in certain critical areas and then providing solution through advice and pushing it to the public so that they can weigh the two options and know which one is better, I don't have a problem with that. But the coalition should also tread softly, because a lot of things could come with it.
Okay.
If at the end of the day, a government that does not broach opposition finds that they are biting harder, they can begin to insinuate and begin to say one or two things that could rope in these active players in this opposition. And we may be helpless in assisting, because Nigerians are not known to say no at critical moments. They may be left in the lurch. So they need to be careful and know those who may be planted inside that group that could upset the purpose and reason for setting it up.
Okay. I get your drift, and I quite appreciate that. I align my thoughts with you in that regard. But talk about a credible opposition in form of a shadow government. I think it is long overdue, because that is one of the things we need to do, to
rein in excesses.
I'm looking for an appropriate word, for a superlative, to end this rascality that the government or governance has become in this country. It is long overdue. So when people like the Minister of Information speak, you begin to see how they harness their creativity, to the service of insincerity and madness and all of that. I mean, for him to say that, look, there is not in our statute books having a shadow government. Is stealing money
in our statute books.
Is opposition stealing money is in our statute books.
Corruption is in
our statute books, but it thrives every day.
I wonder.
It thrives every day. So, like in the UK, and these things, there are bloodlines, between the presidential system of government and the parliamentary system of government. And so that is why I say that when they harness their creativity to the service of madness and insincerity, they leave themselves hollow. They leave themselves open. To being made jest of. No. What I expect the government to do is to look. You have to put your acts together to be on top of your job. If you have a shadow minister of oil, he is coming, he's unofficially paid. He's unofficially, but he's not even paid. He's an unofficial director in that department, telling you what you have done wrong, what you are supposed to have done wrong, because he's standing more like an architect who is looking at the building from the outside. And if the architect is inside, there are so many things he does not see. We call it the architectonic stance. You stand from an outside premise and look at the inside. There are so many things that you see that the person inside does not see. That is the essence of shadow government. No. And any government that is averse to criticism, and like Bill Clinton in his book, he said something, he said you should allow your subordinates or even to opposition to interrogate the validity of your assumptions, because that is the only way you can get the best out of them. If the government keeps shouting down,
feedback
mechanism, and at times when he discusses, when he puts an issue up on the table, after discussions, he will come back, he will ask everybody to go. After like 3-4 hours, 1 day, 2 days, he will call people back to ask questions, same questions, now to see how positions have changed within those periods, and he gets the best out of his people. If government is sincere, what the government needs to do is look at opposition, allow them, give them a free rein, let them do, let them talk, let them criticize you. From there, you are even able to pick sprinkles, snippets of ideas that you don't even that you didn't even have in the first place.
Would even offer and get money in return.
Opposition offers free of charge.
So they should be happy.
Now, I remember in the 80s, because the person that is behind this shadow government, I know his antecedents. He's a world-class professor, I think political economist. And he has been consulting for world bodies and all that. And so he knows what he's talking about.
You mean Patutomi?
Yeah, Patutomi, yeah.
Okay.
I respect him a lot. He started the Patitos gang in the 80s, which yours sincerely was a member.
Okay.
I remember at a point, Obasanjo and his people discussed us at the National Executive Council meeting and all that. And they were telling, this man, he criticized us a lot, this and that. Obasanjo said, is there anything he's saying that is not true? He said, no, the way he's saying it, and this is a debate, they brought Patitos gang to their meeting. After that, this thing, we were now tagged the think tank. Indirectly, they were consulting the man for some of the things he was saying and all that. Even this oil now that is going out of fashion, he said 80s. Patutomi said it, that one day this oil will no longer be in fashion. In the 80s, I was a member, so nobody telling me anything. In the 80s, when Patitos gang was, in fact, we were the only credible opposition that time. No other party. Go and check. And so, when he come up with this thing, I know he's going somewhere. It is the same thing he was doing that time, offering alternative. Because the government is always telling you, what do they call it? What did they call it? How did they put it? Is it not criticism or what? What do they call that thing they put it? The way they put it. They said constructive criticism.
Okay.
Is that not what the man is bringing to the table? That people are afraid of. You can see. You go here, they say no. You go here, they say no. Then what do they want you to do? They say that this man is coming up with, that they are saying on their side. The one that you are doing that is causing misgovernance, is it the one that is in our status book? All the things that you have been doing in governance, in your government, are they in our status books? Minister of Information, tell me, all the things that have gone wrong in this government, where did you get it from? The state of emergency you put in Rivers State that is causing problem here, where is it in our status book? The way you did it. They will not talk about all those ones. It is people that are bringing things on the table that will help you. And you want Nigeria to move forward.
Now, talking about constructive criticism, Nigerians have spoken. Additional, the
Akinwumi Additional,
AFDP, yes,
and they refused to accept
also
it.
Spoke.
They refused to accept it.
He was said to be speaking as if he's, speaking like Peter Obi.
Oh.
Peter Obi also spoke, and one of the statements he made is being quoted in the cover page of The Guardian. Why poverty is worsening in Nigeria. He said a whole lot here, and you think this government is seeing this as non-constructive, because we are seeing the president's aide reacting. Daniel Bwala has said Nigerians that are not seeing what the Tinubu administration is doing are either blind or deaf.
In what way? You see, I don't like the paper quoting that man. Go and look at what this same man told us about Tinubu.
That's exactly why we're quoting, because he seemed to be seeing things better now.
Look, okay, hold on. Let us interrogate this thing. Let us interrogate this properly. He said that before they came into office, all the governors could not pay money. That it was Tinubu that gave them money that they could use to pay salary. Is that a fact? The answer is no. Because as of today, the 70,000, most states are not paying. It's a fact that they are not paying this 70,000 naira. Now look at the inflation. Look at the inflation that has wiped away the minimum wage. That is why Labour is saying, look, we are going to look at this thing again. No? Labour, as I'm talking to you now, they are warming up to start over that minimum wage. So I was expecting Buhari to tell me that when they came into office, I'm talking of things that the ordinary man will feel. That when they came into office, fuel was 700 naira per litre. That under Tinubu, it came down to 200 naira. By removing subsidy, Nigerians are now enjoying it. You and I will go to the filling station and will now identify with that. Is that not true? Then he will now tell me that naira exchange rate, when they came into office, it was 700 naira per dollar. Under Tinubu, it came down to 300 naira. These are facts that you can verify in the streets. Then when you come to economy, in fact, the full stop, that a bag of rice was 35,000 naira. But when they came into office, it came down to 10,000 naira. Did you hear any of this thing from Buala? If there are things that you and I cannot find out, that's what he's telling us. Telling us the government. Who made the governor not to pay money? Were you not the one that impoverished the states and the country? Are you not? Is it not your government, APC government? Why can't he just tell us things that you don't even need to tell anybody will go there and see it? You go to the street there, you find out that what he's telling you the truth. So what have we verified from what he said that Tinubu have achieved? Even Tinubu himself knows that he has failed. Tinubu knows that he has failed. That is why he has been begging Nigeria. I know that there is hardship. I know that there is problem. But to you, an aid, you are trying to cover what is already open. How can that work? So nobody should listen to Buhari again. He's just talking for his own pay packet, nothing else. Nobody should talk to him.
When Chukwuma came in this morning, he said, look, I've sharpened my mouth for Buala. Let's have it.
Honestly, I'm lost for words now. I don't even know what to say because Barrister has practically said everything. Ordinarily, I don't like to make a comment on Daniel Buala's posts, because he's one that speaks from both sides of his mouth.
Even three mouths.
Okay, his mouth has even 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So he speaks from all sides of his mouth.
I'm telling you.
Now, this is the man that said, I don't know what he was apparently looking for that time. And I will also quote you in the process because he said that. And I used to say that quote too. Bring your friends close, but bring your enemies closer. So now the president has decided to bring Daniel Buala, his enemy, closer. You know why? Because he said unprintable things about this same president.
Of course.
He said, if you like, give Tinubu 30 years, he's not going to achieve anything. Yeah. And within 18 months, all of that changed. Now, he baptized the president, watched the way he sings and all of that. Now the president is a saint before Daniel Buala, and he's the person that is going to take us to El Dorado. To the point that he's insulting Nigerians. That anybody that doesn't see Tinubu's achievement is either deaf or blind. And I think that in actual sense, it is Daniel Buala that is both deaf, dumb, and blind. In this case, because he doesn't see anything. The only thing he sees is the plate of food before him, wherever he does. Whether he's in Aso Rock, or whether he's in the residency, or wherever he goes to feed. What he clearly sees is the plate of food before him. I saw a picture of him the other day, looking better, twitched,
What are you saying?
You understand, bro?
That's it now.
Unlike him. So, if he thinks that Nigerians are doing well, let him leave that place. Go back to UK where he was hustling before, and now stay there and tell us after 6 months. Or let him come and practice in Nigeria. He's a lawyer. Shebi is a lawyer. Let him come and practice. Make all the money without the government paying for any of his bills, If he now tells us that, look, anybody that doesn't see the president's achievement is deaf, or blind, then I'll believe him.
No, listen, this is dangerous. You know why? This type of people will be misleading Tinubu to believe that he's doing so well. That is the danger in the... Look, this was how Joseph Goebbels built Adolf Hitler. We have seen it go... Look, this thing that we are talking... People will think is a joke. This is how Joseph Goebbels built Adolf Hitler and created a god out of the man. By telling him he is this and that, doing all sorts of things, creating all sorts of monstrous devices to deceive the German youth. This is something this man is saying now. When Tinubu have already known that he has failed, that he has failed,
there is hardship.
And you are now trying to do...
And the dog they are only looking for protection.
I'm telling you.
Because the moment they are in APC, they are protected.
I'm telling you.
Because the moment they are in APC, they are protected. Mm-hmm. That roaring lion will not get to them. Mm-hmm. That roaring lion will not get to them. Mm-hmm. The lion will be caged. Mm-hmm. And that's why EFCC had taken a detour from the main reason why that organization was established. And they are chasing small boys and girls and calling them Yahoo boys.
Yes.
Instead of looking
at the big thieves.
I'm telling you.
Because look at that NNPC man. They are still investigating him and 80.6 billion has been found. What is his salary? His take-home pay per month. That he will acquire for somebody to still keep 80.6 billion in his account. Then be sure that
the billion in his account.
In cash.
Then in cash. Then
yes.
his assets should be worth more than 80 times.
Exactly.
That is it.
He could have acquired assets all over the world.
Yeah, that is it.
All over the world. So this thing is part of the achievement. Don't be corrupt cases.
Yaya Bello's case.
Nobody, no, that one is off the radar. Nobody talks anything about it. You should have said it, governors. If you have,
he's attending APC governors meeting.
Yes.
See, you were the one that said it. In Nigeria, if you have a problem, pray that something happens
that is greater than your problem.
It mustn't be greater.
Yes, just happen that would.
Pray that another.
It's just the pattern.
It's the pattern.
To divert over time.
To divert attention.
We started with Obasanjo now.
Before we run out of time, because we are gradually running out of time. There's this headline about Nigerians. UK, the government of the UK considering tighter visa rules for Nigerians and Pakistanis because they come to the UK, according to the reports, they come to the UK in search of job, in search of to study, and then they seek asylum. And they're tired of having these asylum seekers. They say it's overcrowding the system. And so they're coming out with stricter measures. A UK of an individual, I can't get his name now. Okay, a spokesperson for the Home Office, I can't get his name actually, he said, upcoming immigration white paper, there's an upcoming immigration white paper that will set out a comprehensive plan to restore order to our broken immigration system. By ours, it means that of the UK. And also to tackle the abuse by foreign nationals who arrive on work and study visa and go on to claim asylum. Nigerians have been pegged as one of those that seek, one of those that seek asylum in their numbers.
I disagree
What's
with
your
them.
reaction to
I
it?
disagree with them.
You disagree with the UK?
As a member of the Commonwealth, I'm supposed to go to the UK and enjoy the Commonwealth. Visa free, because that's where the Commonwealth is.
How many of them have come to
as a member of the Commonwealth,
how many of them have come to your country to enjoy?
I said, that's the head of the Commonwealth.
Are they not the ones that exploited us?
That's the head of the
You allow
Commonwealth.
yourself to be exploited.
UK, I don't sympathize with you.
God.
That place is the head of the Commonwealth.
I
In fact, I can
agree
sue you if you deny me visa.
Barrister.
Yes,
There
it's
is-
a Commonwealth.
I agree with Kanye West.
What are you
Kanye
saying?
West said that slavery was by choice.
By what?
by choice at that
No.
time.
Some
It
people
wasn't by choice
some
at that
people
time.
took us by force.
Slavery was-
It was by force.
Go and ask Ajayi Crowther.
They were kidnapping. They were kidnapping.
Go to slave coast.
We are out of time. Otherwise, I would have told you
What?
about the Barbary slave trade.
If you
Where
like,
African,
leave all
You don't know. They came here to take
that
us
have
by
been
force.
distorted by the
They
whites.
took us by
what
force.
is slavery? Barbary slave trade. Africans enslaved Europeans. Are you not aware of that?
Hold on. Leave all those stories. We are talking
which story? I'm teaching you history.
The transatlantic slave.
We're absolutely
It was by choice.
No, it's not by choice.
It was by choice.
Whether by white or black, it's not by choice. It was always by force.
We are absolutely out of time.
UK, I'm coming, though. I'm coming.
Well, thank you very much for your time on the program. Thank you very much, Barrister Darlington Agumo. And
Are we
also,
going to forget saying happy birthday again?
No, well, big thanks to Dele Fafanibo. And I am Moses Humphrey. He's Chukuma Okoro. You join him later at 6 p.m. for Political Lens. Promises to be interesting. In the meantime, we have to wish him a happy birthday. So,
yes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Let me know the happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Let me know the happy birthday I want.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
How old are you now?
Suspended.
Democracy.